Trump is going to pardon one of the biggest drug traffickers in the world, while at the same time using the war against drugs as a false pretext and excuse to blow up Venezuelan boats with its people in it, sinking them to the sea. And this is your favorite half Chinese, and today we're going to discuss this extreme hypocrisy. Normally I'm not talking about these kind of things, but today we make an exemption because it is too hypocritical. The New York Times says Trump announces pardon for Honduran ex-president convicted in drugs case. Juan Orlando Hernandez was accused of receiving millions in bribes and partnering with traffickers. He was convicted in Manhattan 2024 and sentenced to 45 years in prison until Trump came to office and said, you know what, you can go home. Probably to do some dirty work for the United States of America. Here it says, President Trump announces on Friday afternoon that he would grant a full and complete pardon to a former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who, as the center of a sweeping drug case, was found guilty by an American jury last year of conspiring to import cocaine into the United States. Well, we don't need to hear much more about that, do we? But at the same time, Trump is also saying that they are in a war against drugs. But oddly enough, against Venezuela, not against Mexico or Canada, which are the direct borders. And most of the drugs is coming into through these borders. Yes, also Canada. A lot comes through Canada. Let's see what Hackett had to say.
Operational control of our border. And then it's getting after and going after narco-terrorists and designated terrorist organizations in our own hemisphere.
While the one who is literally in your prison is going to be let free. Just explain that to the American people and to the Venezuelans.
As I've said, I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they...
And again, only those from Venezuela. Isn't it quite odd? Let's just see. This is Venezuela, right? In the red, right here. Do you see how far it is from Miami? 1,367 miles. There's no single boat going directly from Venezuela to Miami. All right? It does not exist. There are no boats with loaded with drugs. Those are kind of speedboats that will travel 1,367 miles all the way to the American shore. All right? It does not exist. It does not happen. But yet, it is the United States who is attacking those boats, but is doing nothing at the border right here, which is Mexico, and doing nothing at the border right here, which is Canada. Just also people who are not into drug trafficking, not that I am, but it's very easy to say how hypocritical this is, right? Because where do you think most of the drugs is coming through? Does it come directly from Venezuela to Miami, or will it go through Mexico and Canada? Why is El Chapo in prison in the United States? By the way, that Honduran president or ex-president was working with El Chapo. Do we see the hypocrisy here? Anyway, let's continue.
American people. And Joe Biden tried to approach...
The American people are being poisoned by this propaganda. The American people are being poisoned by what they call this fake freedom. Why do I say that? If you go on to the biggest podcasts on the YouTube and other social media platforms, the biggest ones about rapping and gangbanging, what is the first thing that they do when they start a podcast? Lighting up a blunt, drinking hard liquor, showing off how they're using. They're talking about substance abuse. They're indoctrinating your children into believing that it is normal. In other words, they are normalizing the use of illegal substances in your kids' brains. It is not the people from Venezuela. It is your own society that allows this to happen, while at the same time, they are censoring political voice that are not in line with Washington voice, which is aligned with the voice of a very small group of people, the so-called 1% capitalist. That, by the way, also own all the social media, so it all makes sense, right? It is not Venezuela that is poisoning the United States. It is exact this what is poisoning the United States. You want to have a safer place, you want people to stop using, maybe force them to rehabilitate and give it to them for free. But as I've heard, for the people to be treated, it's very hard for them to even get to a treatment center and to be allowed to be treated, especially when they don't have money, because the United States is all about money. That's the whole problem in the United States. Anyway, let's continue with this rhetoric.
Kid gloves. Allow them to come across the border, cartels take over communities, 20 million people, hundreds of thousands of Americans poisoned, and President...
Yeah, cartels. Cartels who are here, from Mexico. And no blame on the Mexican people. I mean, they are suffering more under the cartels than anyone else. But why do you attack Venezuelan? It's so hypocritical. I hope Americans see that this is nothing. It has nothing to do with drugs. This has all to do with the government of Venezuela not allowing your 1% parasites to eat up their oil and leave the rest of the people suffering. That is why you are placing all those sanctions on Venezuela as well, to strangle those people. And now, because they didn't die from hunger fast enough, you literally are bombing them. It's idiotic. It's not about drugs. Why is he not doing the same like here? Why are they not bombing all those tunnels that coming from Mexico into the United States? There are tunnels, right? They're not being bombed. But you're bombing Venezuelan people right here, 1,367 miles from home. But you do nothing to protect your own border, except for putting up a couple of steel plates and calling it a wall. It's hilarious. Oh, that's for my other segment.
Trump said, no, we're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations.
No, he did not say that. He said that maybe to you to tell the public, but what he said before was we're just going to destroy Venezuela further. Because Trump also tried a coup d'etat in the past, right? They tried to overthrow the government. That's what they want. They're out for the oil in Venezuela. They don't care about the people in Venezuela. They don't care whether it is what the West calls a dictatorship or whatever. No. All they care about is the oil that they want, and the rest can suffer. If the president of Venezuela right now would phone up the White House and said, okay, we will surrender our oil to your donors, yes, because that's what it's about, then all of a sudden it would be no problem. The United States would say, oh, I see you have some problem with people that are protesting. Let me send you some weapons so you can take their lives away and cut out with the protest. That's what the United States would do. Oh, I see these people. Oh wait, we just train a couple of people, some death squads, and bring them in for you to solve your problems. Oh, you are torturing your people? That's fine. As long as they shut up that we are stealing the oil, it's fine. This is the United States. Let's be very honest here. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about humans, except for 1% of humans. Let's be very clear. And if you don't believe me, go to Skid Row and look for yourself. They don't even care about their own people. Let's continue.
We're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats,
No, you're not.
feeding narco terrorists, and we're
No, you're not. You're freeing narco terrorists. You literally set them free. One that has been convicted in your own court and has to sit for 45 years in prison. And here you are blowing smoke of people behind that you are fighting a war against drugs, not here, where is your border, and not here, where's the Canadian border, but 1,367 miles from home. Stop lying.
Thing that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%. And I don't know who the 9% is,
I'm not sure either, sir, because
but down 91% by sea.
we've had a bit.
You know how great this is for the cartels from Mexico? If there's nothing coming in. Look, if it is going on here through the Caribbeans, normally it goes through Mexico. Most loads. It's very simple because it's way harder to cross over sea than it is to cross over land. And a lot is also coming in through Canada, right? Might not be the white powder, but there's other white powder that's coming also in through the borders of Canada, but also other forms of illicit substances, such as fentanyl. I mean, Canada is one of the biggest producers of fentanyl, right? But nobody's talking about it. And again, you're blaming another nation for that. Thousands of miles from home. Well, again, it is coming from Canada, and again, it is coming here from Mexico. And again, none of them is being blamed. Only another country that literally has nothing to do with it and literally banned all the precursors to make fentanyl to sell to the United States, banned it, and even sentenced people to death because they tried. That country is getting the blame, but not Canada, of which a ton is getting into the United States, and not Mexico, of which a ton is getting into the United States. And the American people, oh, when it's fentanyl, oh, it's China, it's China. And now, with the white powder that keeps you awake, it's Venezuela. We need to attack them. But none is talking about the border with Canada and the border with Mexico. Which cartels are the biggest that operate in the United States? Is it Venezuela or Mexico? Or triads from China? I can tell you straight away, it's the cartels. In all cases. Anyway, let's continue.
Sir, because
But down 91% by sea.
we've had a bit of a pause because it's hard to find boats to strike right now, which is the entire point, right? Deterrence has to matter, not arrest and hand over.
And this is even troubling. Look, smiling,
Do it again.
while they're talking about people that lost their lives, right? And anybody can say, yeah, the drug traffickers don't no care, right? All right. Well, then you also should say that Duterte, who is now here in my city, The Hague, being held, why is he there? Because he's being accused that he allegedly was taking the lives of drug dealers, right? So if that is problematic, well, we're taking the lives of drug dealers without proper due process, right? So if we are so keen on due process, then why are these drug dealers are not getting their due process? Why don't you just arrest them and bring them to court like it has to be? How do we actually know that we are talking about drug dealers? We don't know, because you sink those boats with the people in it. No witnesses lost, right? And it also has been said that there has been orders given to just take the lives of all the survivors. And that's a war crime. Now, I don't know if that really is true. I haven't looked into it yet, but that's what a lot of people say. Anyway, let's continue.
And the rinse and repeat approach of previous administrations, this is meant to get after that approach. And I will just
no, it's meant to overthrow Venezuela.
Has our back.
No, he doesn't.
Banners who are making.
No, you have the back of your 1%. For Americans more known as the donors or the lobbies, or actually the ones who are behind the lobbies. It's not the lobbies themselves. Those are just companies who are just funneling the money from the interest groups into the hands of your politicians and call it a donation. In other countries, it's called bribes. Like, for example, if you would do this in China, they would be executed. Like, literally executed. They have no tolerance for business interest to infiltrate in politics, to bribe politicians so they can get their way at the cost of the people. But that's the difference between a people's republic like China and just a republic like the United States. That's a difference between a capitalist nation and a socialist nation. One capitalist serves the interest of the capitalist. It already says it, right? A capitalist nation. Capital. Capitalist. And the other one, socialism, serves the people. It's all about social. It is about life. It is about improving the lives of the citizens, not just of the 1%. Their lives also will be improved, but not just the 1%, for everybody. This would not be happening. This is literally like a banana republic, which is, by the way, that name, Banana Republic, do you know why it's quite interesting how that came into play? Actually, it's because of the United States behavior. And it was indeed about bananas.
Decisions in difficult situations, and we do in this case and all these strikes. They're making judgment calls and ensuring that they defend the American people.
Yeah. They don't. The American people are paying the price. It's just a load of bull. Americans are paying the price for this in the short run and in the long run, because it will have ramification. People will be very upset with Americans. So yeah, that's on the American people. They voted for this. They want to keep the system alive. And I can say anything about it. It's not my country, and frankly, I don't care what the United States does more. But this was something that is quite interesting to show to the people the hypocrisy and how the United States is operating and how rogue the regime of the United States actually is. And it has nothing to do with rule of law. It is just literally a rogue state. It's literally the biggest example of a criminal regime. While at the same time, they're being so hypocritical when it comes to the case of Duterte, right? Just tell me, what is the difference between them doing this and what Duterte allegedly has done? I don't see the difference. They're literally openly boasting about it. Anyway, let me know in the comment section what you all think of this. Also, for the people who want to donate to my work, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link. It is in the description down. On my YouTube, because I also will have this on my TikTok, but I never post that on my TikTok description. And please like the video, share, and if you have not yet, then follow. And as always, have a great day. Your favorite half Chinese.